It's not every day that Sailor comes out with a new product. So, ever since this Tuzu came out, I've been wanting to get my hands on one and see what it's all about. So, this today is pretty cool because I asked the retailer I bought it from to keep this product in the distributor's packaging so I can show you how it shows up to the store. So let's open this package together and let's see what this $40 new offering from Sailor is all about. So it comes to the store in this plastic bag. So we open this up. And here is everything we have. So it has this, I bought this from Asia, so it has some sort of card here. And then it has the Tuzu owner's manual. Tells you how to use the fountain pen and the rollerball. And then it comes with this box, which is normally how you would see it in the store. So the retailer would open this up, turn it into a box, put all this stuff inside, including the pen. And normally this is how you would get the pen from a store or a retailer. If they shipped it to you, it would usually come in a box that looks like this. So, all right, packaging out of the way, let's look at what we have here. So the Tuzu is a plastic pen. I'm not big into Sailor stainless steel nib pens, so I opted for the rollerball, which I actually think is the more interesting option, and I'll explain a bit why. But first I wanted to give you a bit of background on this pen. So it's widely reported that Sailor is not doing particularly well financially. They are a publicly traded company, so you could just look up their results and see for yourself, but it seems like they're not doing particularly well. And one of the reasons lately that they're not doing so well is because the cost of gold is very high. So this pen here represents a new portion of the market that they haven't ever really competed in before, which is the sub $50 stainless steel nib, or in this case, rollerball market. So this is their effort to compete with pens like the Pilot Custom 74 rollerball, and it's an interesting offering. It is quite a large pen, so if you compare this to pens like the Pentel Energel rollerball, you can see that it is quite a bit larger. So it's quite comfortable to hold. It does post relatively well, although it makes for quite a long pen, but since the cap is plastic, it doesn't really backweight it. The pen is very nicely made overall. It has a nice click to the capping mechanism. It has a nice cap with some metal finishing. And interestingly, it uses a Pentel Energel refill. So this is not a Sailor gel ink refill. This is Pentel. It's branded Pentel. There's no hiding it. And so it is a Pentel Energel refill in a Sailor pen. So overall, very interesting pen. Another thing I'll show you here is this tag here. And you see in Japan, I'm not sure if it's focused here or not. Hopefully this will focus. Okay, you might have to take my word for it. It says 2,500 Japanese yen. So around $20 US. The problem is, once this pen gets into the US through its retailers, it suddenly becomes a $40 pen. And that's where it runs into some problems. So the first problem is if we look at some of these competitors and see what you get for your money elsewhere, the problems start to occur. So the first is this Pentel Energel that I showed you earlier. This is a $10 pen with the same Pentel Energel refill. This is an all metal pen. It has a twist mechanism instead of the capped rollerball body. But this is a very nice pen, and holding these two pens side by side, it doesn't become clear why this pen would be a third or a quarter of the price of this one. If you look at a slightly more premium offering, like for example, the Pilot Custom 74 rollerball, this is approximately a $50 pen, so slightly more expensive than the Sailor Tuzu. However, you get a lot more for your money with this pen. So off the bat, you can see, hopefully you can see, the quality of the materials is much higher with the Pilot. You have a much nicer Pilot clip. You have a center band here that is commonly seen on fairly high-end fountain pens. You have metal finishing across the back and the front. Very nice details on the cap of the pen. And even when you take the cap off, you can see the level of attention on the front section of the pen and the cone is just much, much higher on the Pilot. This Pilot does not feel like a pen that is only $10 to $15 more expensive than the Sailor. It feels like a completely different class of pen. So if you're spending somewhere like $40 on the Sailor, it feels like you might as well step up and get something like this. So what about other pens that are similar, more similar to the Tuzu? Well, I looked around my collection and I came to a realization, which is I think Sailor was trying to make its version of the Lamy Safari. If you look at these two pens, they are very similar in the type of pen that they're trying to be. They are all plastic. The Lamy has a nicer metal clip. The Sailor has a nicer metal finial, but overall very similar. If you take the caps off, they are very similar in the mechanism for the slip cap, and just very similar in terms of what they're trying to be. The problem is the Lamy is much closer to $20 than $40. Another example of a pen that's similar to the Sailor is this Kaweco, I believe this is called the Perkio. This doesn't have a clip, but it has a very interesting pattern in terms of the machining of the barrel and the section. It has very nice metal finishing in the front. It has a very similar type of plastic section. Overall, the build material or the build quality is very similar between this pen and the Sailor that is rolling away. And in terms of the refill, it does fit either a standard international rollerball refill, a Pilot G2 type refill, or if you like, the Pentel Energel. And this pen is in the $15 to $20 range as well. So another data point to show why this pen just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for the asking price. The final nail on the coffin for the Sailor Tuzu comes from Uni or Pentel itself, which is this little pen called the Uni, I believe this is called the Petite or the Petite 1. This pen is every bit as interesting and as cool as a Tuzu, in my opinion. So it has very nice metal finishing on the cone. It has a nice metal clip. It has an interesting design. It's a very nice, high quality plastic. It is a click mechanism, but it has a very nice click. It doesn't really rattle when you write. And it has the exact same Energel gel refill. The problem for the Tuzu is this pen is only $3. So it makes a really hard argument for the Tuzu when you have a pen that is also quite large. This pen is also quite chunky, very comfortable to hold, very nicely made, same refill, very high quality plastic, nice clip for less than, well, it's a tenth of the price in the US, but less than a quarter of the price in Asia. So that's my issue with the Tuzu. I actually think it's a very nice pen, very interesting offering from Sailor, but in terms of what Sailor does best, they should probably stick to making pens like the Pro Gears and the 1911s with their very, very nice 21 karat gold nibs. So that said, I know this is a rollerball, but let's show you a quick writing sample of how this Tuzu writes. So this is the Sailor Tuzu. This is Tomeo River paper. And of course, the rollerball refill is the Pentel Energel. This one I believe is the 0.7 millimeter. Very nice. This pen is very nice, very comfortable, very nicely made for a $20 pen, not for $40. And just to give you a quick comparison, this is the same. This gives you pretty much the same experience for $3 versus $40. So that's a quick look at the Sailor Tuzu. Very interesting offering from Sailor. Again, not a huge fan of their stainless steel nibs, so I do think the rollerball is the more interesting option. I don't think these are selling particularly well, so once these things start to get discounted, I actually think this is a very interesting pen for $20, just not for how much they're asking in the US. So, hope that was interesting, and see you next time.